Hey there, friends. Pastor Jason here. Glad you can join me for daily devotionals. Dealing with a little bit of a head cold, so you'll forgive my nasally sounding voice. Today we're in Genesis 45 and 46. We're going to start to see we will see the reuniting of Joseph's family. Joseph reconciles with his entire family. If you remember, when we last left off, Joseph had kind of this little scheme going where he was hoping to have Benjamin, his actual brother, right? He was born to the same mother. It was him, Joseph and Benjamin, born of Rachel. And it seemed like he was, when you read the word, it seems like he was trying to make a way for Benjamin to be there and yet still be a blessing to his brothers and continue on. But you kind of hear that he had this love and intention for his father, Jacob, also known as Israel, as well. And Judah steps in at the last moment and says, hey, keep me. You don't understand. Benjamin's the youngest, born to my dad, and he really loves him. And that's because his older brother, Joseph, died. And so here we are. Judah's just finished his plea to Joseph, whom he doesn't know is Joseph yet. He's just finished his plea to let Judah keep me, Judah says, send Benjamin home. Chapter 45, verse 1, Joseph could no longer keep his composure in front of all his attendants, so he called out, send everyone away from me. But he wept so loudly that the Egyptians heard it, and also Pharaoh's household heard it. Joseph said to his brothers, I am Joseph. Is my father still living? But they could not answer him because they were terrified in his presence. Then Joseph said to his brothers, please come near me. And they came near. I am Joseph, your brother, he said, the one who you sold into Egypt. And now, don't be worried or angry with yourselves for selling me here, because God sent me ahead to preserve life. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there will be 5 more years without plowing or harvesting. God sent me ahead of you to establish you as a remnant within the land and to keep you alive by a great deliverance. Therefore, it was not you who sent me here, but God. He made me a father to Pharaoh, lord of his entire household, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. Return quickly to my father and say to him, this is what your son Joseph says. God has made me lord of all Egypt. Come down to me without delay. You can settle in the land of Goshen and be near me, you and your children and grandchildren, your sheep, cattle, and all you have. There I will sustain you, for there will be 5 more years of famine. Otherwise, you and your household and everything you have will become destitute. Look, your eyes and my brother Benjamin's eyes can see that it is I, Joseph, who am speaking to you. Tell my father about all my glory in Egypt and about all you have seen, and bring my father here quickly. Then Joseph threw his arms around Benjamin and wept, and Benjamin wept on his shoulder. Joseph kissed each of his brothers as he wept, and afterwards his brothers talked with him. When the news reached Pharaoh's palace, Joseph's brothers have come. Pharaoh and his servants were pleased. Pharaoh said to Joseph, tell your brothers, do this, load your animals and go on back to the land of Canaan. Get your father and your families and come back to me. I will give you the best land of Egypt, and you can eat from the richness of the land. You are also commanded, do this, take wagons from the land of Egypt for your young children and your wives, and bring your father here. Do not be concerned about your belongings, for the best of all the land of Egypt is yours. The sons of Israel did this. Joseph gave them wagons as Pharaoh had commanded, and he gave them provisions for the journey. He gave each of his brothers changes of clothes, but he gave Benjamin 300 pieces of silver and 5 changes of clothes. He sent his father the following: 10 donkeys carrying the best products of Egypt, and 10 female donkeys carrying grain, food, and provisions for his father's journey. So Joseph sent his brothers on their way, and as they were leaving, he said to them, "Don't argue on the way." So they went up from Egypt and came to their father Jacob in the land of Canaan. They said, "Joseph is still alive. He is ruler over all the land of Egypt." Jacob was stunned, for he did not believe them. But when they told Jacob all that Joseph had said to them, and when he saw the wagons that Joseph had sent to transport him, the spirit of their father Jacob was revived. Then Israel said, remember that's Jacob, "Enough! My son Joseph is still alive. I will go to see him before I die." Chapter 46. Israel set out with all that he had and came to Beersheba, and he offered sacrifices to God, the God of his father Isaac. That night God spoke to Israel in a vision. "Jacob, Jacob," he said. And Jacob replied, "Here I am." God said, "I am God, the God of your father. Do not be afraid to go down to Egypt, for I will make you into a great nation there. I will go down with you to Egypt, and I will also bring you back. Joseph will put his hands on your eyes." Jacob left Beersheba, and the sons of Israel took their father Jacob in the wagons Pharaoh had sent to carry him, along with their children and their wives. They also took their cattle and possessions that they had acquired in the land of Canaan. Then Jacob and all his children went with him to Egypt. His sons and grandsons, his daughters and granddaughters, indeed all his offspring, he brought with him to Egypt. These are the names of the Israelites, Jacob and his sons, who went to Egypt. Now you're going to forgive me as I butcher some of these names. Jacob's firstborn, Reuben. Reuben's sons, Hanok, Palu, Hezron, and Carmi. Simeon's sons, Jemuel, Jamin, Ohad, Jachin, Zohar, Shaul, and the son of a Canaanite woman. Verse 11, Levi's sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Judah's sons, Onan, Shelah, Perez, and Zerah. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan. Perez's sons, Hezron and Hamul. Ishkar's sons, Tola, Puva, Jashub, and Shimron. Zebulun's sons, Sered, Elon, and Jehiel. These were Leah's sons born to Jacob in Padan Aram, as well as his daughter Dinah. The total number of persons, 33. Gad's sons, Ziphion, Haggi, Shuni, Esbon, Eri, Aradi, and Areli. Asher's sons, Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, Beriah, and their sister Sarah. Beriah's sons were Heber and Malkiel. These were the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah, and that she bore to Jacob, 16 persons. The sons of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. Manasseh and Ephraim were born to Joseph in the land of Egypt, and they were born to him by Asenath, daughter of Potiphar, the priest at On. Benjamin's sons, Bela, Becher, Ashbel, Gera, Naaman, Ehi, Rosh, Muppim, Hupim, and Ard. These are Rachel's sons born to Jacob, 14 persons. Dan's son, Hushem. Naphtali's sons, Jehaziel, Guni, Jezer, and Shalem. These are the sons of Bilhah, who Laban gave to his daughter Rachel. She bore to Jacob 7 persons. The total number of persons belonging to Jacob, his direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons who came to Egypt, 66. And Joseph's sons who were born to him in Egypt, 2 persons, all those of Jacob's household who had come to Egypt, 70 persons. Now Jacob had sent Judah ahead of him to Joseph to prepare for his arrival at Goshen. When they came to the land of Goshen, Joseph hitched the horses to his chariot and went up to Goshen to meet his father Israel. Joseph presented himself to him, threw his arms around him, and wept for a long time. Then Israel said to Joseph, "At last I can die, now that I have seen your face and know you are still alive." Joseph said to his brothers and to his father's household, "I will go up and inform Pharaoh, telling him my brothers and my father's household who are in the land of Canaan have come to me. The men are shepherds. They also raise livestock. They have brought their sheep and cattle and all that they have. When Pharaoh addresses you and asks, 'What's your occupation?' you are to say, 'Your servants, both we and our fathers, have raised livestock from our youth until now.' Then you will be allowed to settle in the land of Goshen, since all shepherds are abhorrent to Egyptians." Well, chapters 45 and 46. What really stands out to me is back in 45 there, where it really keys in for Joseph that it wasn't just about getting his brother Benjamin to him, but he comes to recognize that it was God had sent him. It was God's doing that gets him to Egypt so that he can preserve life, not just the lives of his family, but life because of this famine that the Lord knew was coming, that he let Joseph know was coming, and he was able to be an impact on Pharaoh and prepare for such an extreme famine in the land for 7 years. And I love that God sent me ahead of you to establish you as a remnant within the land and to keep you alive by a great deliverance. This was what God was using. God used Joseph's brothers, selling him into slavery. God uses it for the fruition of the promise that God had made in the first place to Jacob, that he would have descendants, that they would not become destitute. And here Joseph then uses his power and authority to bring his family together, to play the part he has to play in God's promise. And he brings his family closer to them so he can make sure that they're going to be in good shape during this time of famine. Hey, I hope chapters 45 and 46 were a blessing to you. Go on out, be a blessing to those around you, and I will see you tomorrow as we continue on in Genesis. We've only got a little bit more, and then we're all wrapped up this week. Have a great day.